Good morning. Early February update for the Southern Railway Memphis Division, 1975-ish. Got a couple things done since last time. So last time we showed you, we did, we decked in the lower deck for staging, and so now over here in the lead into staging, so this framework benchwork piece here is the same, but we took the old decking off and replaced it with the same material that was here. Just a couple splices in there with, reusing, making sure I used all the material I had on hand versus having to go get new and laid it in. So it's angled here, so multiple tracks come in, curve in here. So there's gonna, the 6 main lead-in tracks and then the other thing I got done was I got the merge for the spur to the aluminum plant. Comes off the back there, goes down. So one of the hard things was making sure that track had enough clearance going around the back side so that the first turn of the helix wouldn't hit it. So I was like, all right, how are we going to make this happen? So what I did was I actually put a slight incline. You can see the line on the wall there, how much it's climbing here. And you can see the difference in the benchwork here. Put a slight incline, so we're up about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches from, starting down over there. And that gave us a little bit of a extra bump just to make sure that piece back there had plenty of clearance coming around the back side. And also by doing that, it allows the turn here to come all the way out to the wall, so it allows us to use the full size space for the radius of the turn, so we're not compressing the circumference of the spirals here. And then you'll see some intermediate planning for how the 2 lines come down. So one line is basically representing Memphis, the other represents Sheffield Yard. The outside line is Sheffield Yard effectively. The inside line is west to Memphis. And so again, in my mind, I definitely want to have the ability to get from effectively what's going to be the tracks on this side that come and end up here, and also the tracks on the far side that end up coming in. So the 2 mains will continue straight. There will be inside here, it'll be the inside tracks, and then there'll be 2 departure tracks, if you will, or arrival tracks, depending on which way you're going here. And there'll be 2 on the back side, starting with these turnouts here, and then the main for the back side, and the main, and those 2 turnouts will head to the far side. Turnout for the branch to the aluminum plant will come off of here, so those trains will always have to depart from the far side staging, just because of where that turnout has to be for reasonableness and everything else. But we'll see how that plays out, whether we want to keep that turnout there. I mean, theoretically, it could be up into here, leaving that full-length track to be able to be, have a train stage there without fouling that turnout. But again, we're still playing around with it. So these tracks will curve, the tracks from the main from this side will curve this way and come this way and branch off into, and then the tracks from the backside and the backside main will go far and split into even more to hopefully have at least, I know I can get 8 full all the way around from there back to over there where those papers are, if not 9 long, truly long staging tracks there with some shorter, there'll be 3 or 4 short ones here. And again, I think a previous post had some passenger cars posted in here. And then again, there'll be stub end for sitting in here for locals and odd trains that will be, not planning on being recycled during any operating session. Now, if I get as many tracks into my staging as I think I can, without, leaving myself issues, I shouldn't have to recycle trains. We'll be able to have different consists and different, full-length trains, staged and used, but definitely have the capability of recycling trains if that became, space became an issue. I'm still debating whether we use, 4 turnouts or just go ahead and use a double crossover here, whether we go with a Pico or even a Kato, one that's, bulletproof, quote unquote. But again, I'm still debating, what's going to be right there. But again, this will be unexposed, so whoever's operating, yard master will be, can deal with anything in here that, ends up being necessary to deal with, without having to be really back up under the deck. Now, of course, those couple of turnouts will be, but again, there's 14 inches between decks here, I believe, or it's either 14 or 16, I can't remember. Well, again, this one's come up a little bit, so it's a little less in here. Those 2 turnouts there, and then that one over there. And then the rest of it's, remember, there's, even with the fascia, there's still plenty of clearance for that, for the staging deck. So that's what I've been working on these last couple of days since the last update. I was really getting a firm idea of how that was going to happen. Once I decided to definitively pull the trigger on going ahead and doing that, I knew, once the idea, got into my head that I was going to use that lower deck for something, that there definitely had to be, some significant planning in the early stages of how to get that line to it without interfering with the helix, and it had to be done basically before the helix was built. So I think I've got that pretty much laid out like it needs to be. We'll see going forward what, ultimately what we do. I still ultimately haven't decided, how I'm going to deck the helix. There's multiple plans out there, multiple types, but again, this is just some leftover wood I had that I'm going to, been using for, mock-up for that first level. And way back in the earliest day, it just made a return loop on that benchwork, but we'll continue to use it. So the next thing is that with all the lower level staging, we'll use primarily Pico turnouts, PECO, PECO, the English ones, and in some sections it'll use Atlas, code 80. Any new track that'll be bought for this will be Pico. Probably their code 55, with the rail buried in the ties, because it just holds up so much better when you're trying to make turns and solder it together and everything else. I'm really holding off. I need more track for code 55 for up on the upper level before I ever get to the point where I'm laying down track for 100%. All right, yeah, we're done. I'm pretty happy with the how I've got it set up. I've run through some basic operations in my brain and with some trains that, all right, how am I going to switch this? How am I going to switch that? And I'm like, okay, I think that's going to work. But I do need some fresh track, especially in a couple places where some of this stuff has gotten out of gauge, and every fourth or fifth train over it, derails on a certain spot, and you kind of wonder. It's like, all right, so with microengineering saying that they're going to get more turnouts and stuff sometime this year and flex track back into production, and Pico having said that they're going to bring American, just like they do in HO. They're going to bring their Streamline into Code 55 for American look. I'm kind of waiting before I do anything else with, Fresh Track and actually getting track secured on the upper level to see, which of those two happens. Because I'm just, the Atlas track looks fantastic, but just in my, so far as, trying to, use pieces and everything else, every group of turnouts you buy, there's always one that, or two that needs, some definitely some definitive fine tuning. And I'm just like, with these other companies, basically saying, all right, yeah, we're set to release more track. I'm kind of gonna sit on that and basically work on the lower level, all this, hardware and stuff like that and see if somebody will come up with something. I'm not going to wait a year to buy more track, but I may, I definitely will be. I'm good with waiting 6 months, because I think the new products that are going to come out are going to be definitively more robust and better than what we've currently got. So that's kind of where that sits. Next update will be my Scout Trains GP30s are shipped. They're sitting basically 2 towns over in a postal facility. Got a couple of sound ones in that group. So I'm kind of anxious to hear those two along with my Atlas sounds. They're all ESU cards, so they should link together pretty well. And it'll be, we'll see what happens. But I'm anxious to get those on the layout. And so far, everything I've heard from people that have gotten them so far is they're spectacular. So, well, that's the next update. Appreciate you guys hanging out and watching this stuff and watching my layout grow with me. Have a good one.